I have a 4-year-old daughter. At the time,
Okay.
like when we started this project, my wife was pregnant, and same thing with my associate. So it was important for us to be able to bring our kids here, right?
Okay.
So I mean, that was a priority, and that stayed. So I don't want to be a bar where I need to come early in the morning to clean the bathroom kind of situation.
Yeah.
I just want to make beer and.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to All Beer Inside. I'm your not so humble host, Carp, and today we are in Saint-Jean-de-Matha at Côte at Beausoleil, and joining us is Jacob, the head brewer.
Nice to meet you.
Welcome.
Meet you.
Thank you very much for taking time out of your schedule to speak with us, especially with everything that's going on in the world right now, where we can sit down and have a conversation about some great Quebec beers.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for coming.
Awesome. Thank you very much. All right, you brought me a few to try here. Let's start with the first one. What's this first one we're having here?
Classic pills, Czech pills, Czech ingredients, grain, hops, everything.
Beautiful
lager to start.
Yeah. Awesome. As you do on the show, a toast.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, super clean. Just right down.
Thanks. So that's basically, we started the brewery here. We had the Helles was our blonde, and then about a few months later we decided to have this Pilsner, so we'd offer a variety even when it comes to blonde beers, blonde lagers.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of those, so I find them fun to brew.
Every brewer we've been talking to has their own thing. You say, oh, I focus on Pilsners. One guy's like, oh, I'm just IPAs. Near where I live, there's Masorum, so it's just like pretty much all IPAs and like wild stuff.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
I find that's something that Montreal can offer, that it's hard to do like in regions like this. You need to kind of offer a wide variety of beers.
I mean, it's nice you guys in the area, in the Lanaudière, are coming up, obviously with Paul from Alchemist creating the Lanaudière. You guys are up and coming, and you are becoming a name out there, just like the Canton de l'Est. That's everywhere in Quebec is having their own little regions of breweries now, which is fantastic. So.
Yeah, and we're at, I think, 15 breweries now in Lanaudière, and we all offer something a little different. Every brewery is unique. Every experience is different, so it's a really nice little route we've got going. Lots of young breweries, but also some well-established breweries like Alchemist. Albion's been around for a while, and Malmström has really put its flag on the map also. So it's a nice little area. Yeah,
it's nice, and a big proponent of this show is support local, and we've obviously all wanted to do that during this. So it's like, okay, well, there's you guys I can find, and then there's Alchemist and Albion and L'Apothèque. There's so many options now. It keeps getting better, and even these small little 1 hour drive from the island of Montreal for somebody like me is nothing for beer. So.
And we had lots of people from Montreal because this is basically the road to the cottages up north. So people like all the time, lots of English people, surprisingly, stop by here. Lots of people from Montreal have their cottages here, so there's lots of variety, lots of tourism.
It's been great. I mean, pandemic aside, obviously discovering new beers. I honestly would have never discovered you guys if it wasn't for the Lanaudière. So, and that came through a Facebook ad. So it's just, you guys obviously know what you're doing, getting together and creating your labels. And hey, let's get this going. Let's really push ourselves out there. So yeah,
it's a nice little community. It's not a competitive kind of area. We just kind of try to help each other out. And if Lanaudière and Lanaudière has a healthy beer environment, it's good for all of us.
So speaking of that, what the creation of Côte à Beausoleil, what made you decide, like, hey, time to start a brewery in Saint-Jean-de-Matha?
I think it's kind of the classic story of home brewer turned. Like I brewed at Très Carré after I've been home brewing for maybe like 5-6 years. Then I took a little course at IBQ in Montreal at ma brasserie, and then I started brewing at Très Carré in Saint-Côme. But at that point, like, we had already started building the project. Like, we built this building. It took like 4 years. Me and my partner at the time, and the neighbor over there, which is in the family, he's a Beausoleil. So it took about 4 or 5 years to get this off the ground.
Okay.
So it was a long time. And then we opened during a pandemic. But yeah, I mean, these are the kinds of things you can't control.
Yeah, it's so wild how many breweries have opened during the pandemic, and very few have failed.
Yeah. So. Yeah, have any?
Yeah. Krukowen in Blainville.
Okay.
They're like the Transylvania style beers.
Okay.
I did try and get in touch with them, and he's like, yeah, we had to shut down because of the
bad.
pandemic. And I think Unité Microbrasserie really cut back on their stuff in Mirabel too. So. Yeah. But then speaking of Mirabel, we even Bière Philosophale just opened in Mirabel, another one during the pandemic. It's wild that.
I think, yeah, lots of people had to switch to packaging. Like if your whole business was on location, then that was difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, we weren't planning on canning as much as we have been, but I mean, it's what's kept us alive.
Yeah. And I mean, you're clearly probably in most beer stores in the area too, so that helps as people who are like, hey.
In the summer, we haven't been able to.
Okay.
Because we're a really small brewery. Like, I have 4 375 to 400 liter fermenters. That's what we started off with. So I mean, at first our plan was tap room basically only, and we switched to canning. But still, in the summertime, this summer we weren't able to distribute basically at all. Now we've started.
Okay.
Again.
So I'm going to start seeing it on the shelves hopefully in Montreal. So.
Well, Lanaudière, we're trying to cover Lanaudière first. We're not able to. So I'd love to get to Montreal hopefully soon, but that's plan B.
So that's kind of, I guess, obviously outside the pandemic, that was some of the other major roadblocks of getting your name out there and the beers out there into the community of the craft drinkers.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people in the area know about us, but when we're not on the shelves anywhere, it's hard to know us, right?
Yeah.
So
you're coming along. Yeah. I mean, I've seen your name. I was starting to see you in Quebec beer groups like 4 à 5 Virtuel and stuff like that. So
popped up there a few times.
Yeah, we're starting to see your brand and all the Latinode beers and all the Canton de l'Est. So all you guys, like I said, just creating communities of beer of, hey, come visit friends at the same time as visit us and buy some beer. So it's always fun. For somebody like myself who loves to travel for beer, it's super nice that I could come here and then head down the road back on the 40 and then hit the fermenter on the way back or something. So.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, basically we have 2 neighbors half an hour away, Malmström. We're technically on the same street as they are, but it's like half an hour further. And Très Carré in Saint-Côme, really nice spot also. Yeah. So, I mean. So
what made you decide Côte de Beausoleil as a brewery name and not like Brewery Saint-Jean-de-Matha or something like that? So, as you noticed coming here, we're on the top of in Côte, a hill, right? And it's known as La Côte à Beausoleil. Basically, lots of people who live on this côte were Beausoleil. The owner of this building is a Beausoleil. My partner in this adventure at the beginning, his mother was a Beausoleil also. So it was kind of like a family thing. I'm not a Beausoleil, but I mean, I'm here on the Côte de Beausoleil. Everyone in the area, when you say Côte de Beausoleil, they know what you mean. Okay. So when you say je m'en vais à Côte de Beausoleil, people know what you're talking about, where you're talking about, even before there was a brewery here. Awesome. So nice and simple, straightforward, and obviously history. So that's a super important part. You were the only one in the Saint-Jean-de-Matha area, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And what made you decide Saint-Jean and not, even maybe closer? Obviously, like you said, the building owner you're good friends and almost partners with. But what made you decide like this area, not another area in the Lanaudière or the Canton de l'Est or? Well,
I grew up not too far from here, like in Lanaudière, Joliet area. And my partner at the time, he's not in the business anymore, but he grew up on la Côte à Beausoleil. And it's like when we had the idea to start a brewery, kind of pitched it to his uncle. His uncle's like, yeah, let's build a brewery. Let's do it. So, I mean, this is on his land previously. So it kind of happened that we wanted a brewery, we wanted in the area. This is a great street to have a brewery on. I mean, no walk-up traffic, of course, but there's lots of traffic. And so it just kind of was chosen for us in a certain way. We had the project, but it just this was a perfect situation.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, if I hadn't had my GPS on, I probably would be another 20 minutes down the road.
Yeah, I mean, it's 90 kilometers an hour, and on the top of the hill, you don't really see it coming, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, I just want to make sure I don't cause an accident, but at the same time, I want to come enjoy great beers, so it's a pendulum to play with.
We're going to have like a big entrance, or accotement, basically like a side ramp or whatever that's going to be asphalted way before the building and past the building as well. It was supposed to get done this year, but with the pandemic and everything just kind of stops functioning. So hopefully next year, the beginning of the year, we'll have a nice, safe entrance for everyone.
But yeah, I can't wait to see I can't wait to see this during the summer. Are you gonna have like a terrace, a patio as well?
We built one at the beginning of the year on the side. Okay. I'll show you afterwards. But it's a nice big terrace that we built that really helped us during the summertime. I mean, even when it was 50% occupancy in the building, that just kind of changed everything for us. And changed the whole vibe of the place. No one wants to be inside in the summertime. So I mean, the terrace would be packed. People would like rather have tables in the parking lot basically than be inside. But now in the wintertime, there's this great place inside where people really enjoy hanging out. So.
I love the look of it. It's very unique. It's very like your home pub style thing. So it's very cool. And you mentioned there is eventually a kitchen on the way pre-show. So coming here, grabbing a meal, and having a great beer. I can't wait
so
for
basically,
that to happen.
the plan isn't a kitchen as much as an outdoor pizza oven.
Okay, nice.
So that's mostly what we're going for. Pizza, and with the pizza oven, you have lots of possibilities, but pizza for sure.
Yeah, those like old ceramic, like wood fire.
That's what we're going for.
That's so good. Yeah. Before the pandemic, I was in New Jersey to watch football with my father, and it's like, somebody's like, go to this place, it's wood fire pizza. I'm like, I'm sold.
You can't beat that. So, that and good beer, it's just the best combo.
What's beer number 2 we're going for here?
So that's our Australian IPA.
Okay.
Galaxy Eclipse hops. So northeast style, maybe a bit drier. But yeah, Galaxy for sure.
Yeah, it's
always
all on, right on the nose. Awesome. I toast.
Toast.
Oh, this is nice. It's not like a punch of hops. It's nicely balanced. I'm not getting much maltiness, so yeah, like you said, Australian IPA.
Yeah.
So
it is drier than a like classic northeast.
Yeah, very clean. What I'm always worried about nowadays is like so many people produce IPAs, you're gonna get like a hop burn.
Yeah.
And it's whenever you get like a nice clean one, it's like, oh, thank God. It's like you do want to remain trepidatious because hop burn just sucks.
I've had versions of this one that has hop burn because this is a Kvike yeast. So basically, I wanted, since I don't have lots of volume, I wanted beers that I could like produce and get out quickly. So the first batch of this, I think I got it in like 6 days. Major hop burn. So now I leave it a couple of days more, and it's nice and smooth this way.
Yeah, Kvike's done wonders for a lot of breweries, from what I've heard. So one of our early pandemic interviews, Stout Lac in Beausoleil, he's like Kvike. He's got like 3 Kvike
I use
IPAs.
Quite a bit. I mean, our red has Kvike. Our Australian IPA. All my fruited sours are with Kvike also. So yeah, we've used it in maybe half our beers so far.
But it allows you to actually get a beer out quicker.
Yeah, and at the same time, when it's a blonde, I'm making like 6-week lagers. So I have these super slow beers and these quick beers. Find some balance somewhere.
I mean, obviously, like you said, you're more passionate about the blonder beers, but this is also amazing. And we have a darker beer later on too to try, as well as a new beer you came out with, which we'll talk about. But it's I can obviously hear the passion behind your voice of everything you do. So it's fantastic to hear this kind of stuff.
Yeah, brewers are usually kind of obsessed.
I mean, I'm sure it is with the Lanaudière, like it is in Montreal and other areas. It's like, I ran into Crystal Malt's call. Paul, hey dude, can you send me some malt over?
We get phone calls like that.
So, and then, I'm out of these hops. Can you send me some Yakima? It's like, well, Yakima's really expensive right now.
I'm probably the smallest brewery. Maybe Albatross is smaller than I am, maybe. So people aren't calling me for stuff as much as the other way around happens once in a while.
But I mean, you said like you've literally opened. You're not even open 2 years yet, right?
No.
So
July 2020.
Yeah. So it's been a wild. I'm sure it's been a wild 1.5 or 4-year project, like you said, to start to where you are now. It's been crazy. So.
It's been a crazy 1.5 for sure. We've really been open like 6 months during that whole time. Like last winter was takeout only. So it's been an interesting year. This summer felt like we were actually opening.
Yeah.
Now we'll see what happens in the next months, but.
Now, you mentioned earlier on home brewer's dream to brewery. What was the first home brew beer that you're like, even good, bad, whatever it was, this is where I'm going?
So I'm trying to remember my first beer. I think it was an IPA, which was super oxidized and brown and kind of nasty. I liked it, and my friends, I'm sure, pretended to like it. And then there was some bad batches, but slowly you get to something that's good. Remember, I think I had brewed like a Kolsch, and I was like, this is actually good. And then I think my best homebrew was a Schwarzbier. I was like, I could see myself actually selling this. And this stout is basically the same recipe I was making at home. It's the only one basically that I've kept the same as my homebrew.
Nice.
So yeah, that was my staple.
Okay.
This stout at home. Yeah.
So it's weird because, like you mentioned, like you love blonde beers, but it seems that you focused on the darker beers. And
I just at first I didn't have the equipment for lagering.
Okay, yeah.
So that was basically the main. That's what was stopping me. That's why I made it cold and stuff like that. But
Yeah. When you were creating the tap room environment, what made you decide to have that like family-friendly, local pub almost type feel?
I have a 4-year-old daughter at the time.
Okay.
Like when we started this project, my wife was pregnant, and same thing with my associate. So it was important for us to be able to bring our kids here, right?
Okay.
So I mean, that was a priority, and that stayed. So I don't want to be a bar where I need to come early in the morning to clean the bathroom kind of situation. I just want to make beer and.
And the can wall. When made you guys decide that?
Oh, so that's Andrelyn, my wife and partner in this business also. She is our graphic designer.
Okay.
And she was like, wouldn't that be awesome? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely, that would be great. So she made it. She made the can.
She does all your can art as well, obviously.
So yeah, she basically does the graphic design. We have a few cans that we deal with a friend. All the ones that are like collage art.
Yep.
Like this one, the one with the giraffe here in front. This Northeast IPA we had. There's another one also. The kids on the car with the atomic bomb. That's a friend of mine who, like during the pandemic, everyone was looking for new passions, and she had this collage art thing that she was doing since high school. It's a girl I went to school with, and she started up again. She was posting these pictures on Facebook. It's like, that would be awesome on a can. That would be great. So for a few IPAs and special beers, we'll just deal with her, and she sends us the vector. We put on the can.
Very cool. I see your naming conventions, Colin, all over the place. Like you just have like, oh, here's our IPA de la Côte, Ale Québécois, and then some of them are named. What made you decide to kind of do both instead of just sticking with one or the other?
Good question. Kind of all over the place, as you say, a little bit, but it depends. Like at first, our priority was for base beers. We want people to know what they're getting. Like on the shelf, sometimes it gets confusing. You see like all the artwork, but you're not sure what you're gonna drink.
Yeah.
So we wanted so our first beers that we released here were our Stout IPA, the Helles, the Goza.
Okay.
This one.
San Juan Goza. The Goza.
And the Ale.
Okay.
So you see, like our first 5 beers was really clear. Like this is a Stout, this is an IPA, this is an Ale, this is and then our releases afterwards. Like some of these are seasonal, some of these are semi-regular. So we kind of went a little bit crazier with them, some of them. But even like the Kafka, the Czech pills that we had before, it's still clear, like Pilsner Czech.
Yeah, well, Norse Sieg.
Yeah, so some of them have names, but we still want it to be clear when you look at the can what you're getting. And then the IPA series that we make with Amanda. So basically that one has a nice art piece on it, which basically takes the focus, but then clear Northeast IPA at the bottom.
Yeah.
So basically that was our main goal, is to know what you're getting into.
I mean, the art's quite, like the Norse is something my eye immediately draws to, and then obviously the lumberjack, the Quebecois lumberjack on the ale, it's some pretty classic stuff. And then, like you said, Kafka-esque, the design of like the bug coming out of his hat, it's pretty wild, so it's very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how these all turned out.
Oh, it's some of the can art sometimes, just I go to the shelves and, oh, I feel like IPAs this week, so I'll start buying IPAs. Oh, I feel like this week. Oh, I want cool can art. So I just start buying, immediately, because I'm part of that generation, I'm drawn to Pixel because it's just all old school video game stuff. So it's like, oh, even if the beer's bad, I don't care, it's video games.
They got you with nostalgia there.
Yeah. So I'm sure that, the beers I've had with them have been fantastic. So it's just, that's another one that, we haven't been able to do, is to show you how to get to contract brewers. What made you decide to do the brew pub and not go contract first and then straight to the pub?
We could have gone that way. It might have been easier at first, actually, like what Locomotive were doing. But we really wanted to, even if it was small volume, to have our fingerprint on it at first. And as when you walk in, you can see the brewery. It's small. People enjoy that also, knowing. It's a question we get all the time, like where is this beer made? And people like it when the answer is right here.
Right here, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we're going for.
That's another, like I said, huge thing of support local. When you can see it's being made, good friends of the show, Le Brus and Kanawaki, are our first 2 ever interviews. It's like, you know, you walk in and there's the brewery in the back. You walk in, there's the brewery on the side. And even everywhere, pretty much everywhere I go, except for a few places downtown, obviously, because they can't have a brew house right into public. It's right there. I see it. I know it's being made. And, you know, sometimes the doors open, you get the smell, and you're like, yes,
Exactly.
this is what I want.
Coming into a brewery and smelling the mash, that's great.
Yeah.
And you smell the hop addition when it's happening, and it's wonderful.
Yeah. Awesome. So what's beer number 3 we're trying here?
Stout Lac Noir. So small coffee and chocolate addition to this.
Beautiful nose. All right.
Thank
A
you.
toast. Oh, yeah, the coffee's, because I've had a lot of stouts recently where the coffee's overpowering. This is not overpowering. It's just like that right level of coffee and bitterness. I find.
So this is a stout that's kind of towards a dry stout, so it's not a heavy stout. It's a stout that you could drink a can and want another one.
Yeah.
It's nice and light.
I recently had like an espresso IPA. I'm like, oh my god, I'm slightly intoxicated and I have energy. This isn't right. So it's,
there's a combination of
Yeah. You just don't expect it, especially now. I mean, with what's I find very deceiving are blonde stouts or white stouts.
Yeah.
It's like it's got the taste of a stout, but say it looks like a blonde. It's so confusing. It is art and science in a can. So it's amazing what people like you can do with when it comes to just throwing in some malts, adding some water, getting your malt build and your grain build and all that stuff. It's what you guys create always blows my mind.
Yeah, those white stouts or something, it just messes with your mind a little bit. You're expecting, I don't know, like a white basically taste, and then bang, you get this nice toasty stout feel. Throws you out.
Yeah, it does. I do love that too when there's kind of like a curveball to a style.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it's something new, and you know, especially with the amazing creations that people come up with IPAs with just the hop combinations. You know, I don't know if you've ever been, but Mario at Castle Brewery in Castleman, Ontario.
No, I haven't been.
He just started to do a triple hop IPA series, and he just literally named them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and each one's different. And we've visited Mario a couple times, and it's like, he's like, these are the new hops I put in this one. Oh, I just discovered these hops, and there's these new African hops we got in. It's like the stuff you guys can do.
Yeah, there's so many possibilities. We've had fun with African hops too. This one, Southern Star, Southern Passion, African-inspired beer, really fun.
Yeah.
Like there's so many options, and it's just, of course, there's the classics that you can't go wrong with.
Yeah.
Like Galaxy and
Galaxy,
Citra and Mosaic and all that stuff. But it's fun to try other combinations as well.
It's like I said, almost everywhere it's like, we had the same hop combination, but because maybe your water profile is different, so your beer is slightly different than one at Misorum or Kanawaki or La Brasse. It's all like just because a little bit of water or a little bit of this. Or
we could have the same grain bill and the same hops and the same recipe, but the water will change everything.
Yeah.
We have well water here. For sure, it's different than anybody else's because I mean the water's from the hill, so can't replicate it.
It's one thing I like to ask is, so when I was in college, I was drinking Labatt, Bud, in an alleyway with friends playing hacky sack. But let's say I had still had that palate where I was drinking Coors Light and stuff, but wanted to come in here. What's that intro beer you were to give me to try and get me to drink craft beer?
So I think for most people, the clearest intro beer is the Helles, just like a light lager. I mean, it's like, I like craft beer. I thought craft beer was bitter and all these crazy things, but this is basically a slightly tastier version of what I usually have. I like it, and we get lots of guys like that are like 50 years old and they've been drinking Coors or whatever their whole life, and now they come and get a 2-4 of Helles and like, hey, look, everyone, I'm drinking craft beer. But then slowly, like, that'll progress to the Pilsner with a bit more bitterness, and then they get to love the bitterness, and they're like, this IPA is nice too, and it's a gradual thing. But those people, I usually start them off with the Helles because that's like, you think you don't like craft beer, this is craft beer, and they all like it because it's right in their taste profile. And for some other people, the way to get them is with like fruited sour beers. Yeah. That's what'll get them into beer. I don't like beer, try this raspberry beer. And it's kind of a, like, this isn't beer. Well, it is. There's just a lot of fruit in it. And then it's like 2 different entry points, but they end up kind of liking almost everything. So
I mean, my gateway to craft was Brutopia's Strawberry Blonde.
Yeah.
Very simple, very basic, just blonde with an extra strawberry, and it's tasty and it's clean. That got me started. And what's this World Beer Festival in Montreal? What's this? And what's this IPA? Whoa, why is that IPA hazy? Like, that doesn't look right. And, oh my God, it's so juicy. And it just, you combine it, how...
It snowballs.
Yeah, it snowballs, exactly. And your palate's like, oh, I like this. Like, stop drinking bad beer.
Yeah, well, it's just, you need to discover that your palate, that beer is not just one note. Mm-hmm. For lots of people, beer has been one note for their whole life because they started off drinking Coors and they've been drinking Coors for 30 years.
Yeah.
So it's been the same note hit repeatedly, and then they're like, oh, okay, wait, there's more to this.
So we got a last beer here to try that you said is new.
Released it yesterday.
Okay.
Vitamine A.
Sour carrot beer.
Yeah, inspired by carrot cake.
Interesting.
So.
Vitamin A, inspired by carrot cake.
Yeah, you could go ahead and.
Oh, beautiful sound. Awesome.
There we go. Nice little color.
Yeah, it looks like a carrot juice. Awesome. A toast.
Thank you.
Oh.
So there's cinnamon and ginger.
Wow. Nose is excellent. It's very, very faint of the sourness.
Oh yeah, it's lightly soured. I tell clients because I didn't let it sour as long as some of the other sours we have.
Oh, that cinnamon is fantastic. Wow, that is a really good beer.
Thanks.
That is unexpected. You don't expect, like, carrot cake beer. You're like, oh, maybe it'll taste way too sweet because of whatever, but wow.
Like I was telling you, it was kind of a shot in the dark because I had read of breweries that made that in the States, like a carrot beer. It's like, oh, that really captured my imagination, but I've never tasted one before. So it's like, let's just do it. So we brewed a 400 liter, put it all into cans, and I'm really pleased with the result. It's fun. I think it's going to be a beer that I'm going to brew pretty often.
I could see that selling well to beer geeks like myself. We'll gobble this up. So there's no question about it.
It's interesting for sure, and
it's completely unexpected.
There's a bit of lactose in there too, so there's like a bit of sweetness, but not too much.
Yeah,
I'm quite pleased.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I like to ask this now. Obviously, I have to add the caveat: when it's safe to travel again. Beer vacation, and you still have a fairly young child, so that's another thing. So maybe when you could pass your kid off to the grandparents for a week and you and the wife go on a beer vacation, what's one that you'd love to do when it is safe to travel and there's not so much problem coming back to Canada as there is at the moment? So.
There's like lots of options lots of good answers to that question. Like it could be it could be just Vermont. I've been there a few times, and I'm looking forward to going back. In Quebec, there's lots that I haven't been to that I'd love to go. In Europe, of course, I've been to Prague and Germany, but they weren't beer trips. And next time I go, I'd like to focus. I think that would be my answer. Like I read it might have been a podcast about like a beer route in Franconia in Germany that you could bike from town to town and just go to each brewery that each town's had for like close to 1,000 years and just have a beer there. And that is my answer. That's what I would like to do. Bike from brewery to brewery in Germany.
Yeah. I've said time and time again, I want to drink with a monk in a monastery in Belgium.
Yeah, so. Belgium. There's another one. That would be amazing too.
Yeah. And now I've recently read they're allowing nuns to actually brew in monasteries as well. So that's one thing where like let's include the BIPOC culture, and there needs to be more women in brewing. And we've spoken with Erin at Little Beasts in Whitby, and it's like she's one of the very few female owners, and it's like, well, we need more ladies in beer. We need more people of color in beer. We need to expand beer's color palette. So
for sure,
let's go,
absolutely.
So.
Oh, we're proud to have 3 women owners here as well. So that's awesome, and it adds something. I think it adds something for the design of the building, the cans, everything, and even some of the beers we decide to brew. It does have a major impact to have different voices.
Well, to me, for I find with craft beverages in general, when it comes to either cider or local vineyards or craft beer, there's something for everybody. Yeah. Unless you're a kid, then no. You got to start somewhere. So maybe start with obviously I'm assuming you have a farmer come pick up your spent grain and stuff like that. So it's like, I know some places they make dog treats with it and stuff like that. So it's just the craft world is all like encompassing, which I love. So, is that farmer down the street grabs your spent grain, feeds his pigs. Okay, slaughters the pigs. Oh, here's beer bacon. It's like what?
Yeah, circular economy thing going.
Yeah, and that's a fantastic part about the entire craft industry is that you guys all support each other and you keep going and you want each other to succeed.
Yeah,
it's not like, oh no, you're in my way, get out. It's no. If you succeed, I succeed, and everybody in this area in the Lanaudière will succeed.
And if someone fails, it's a failure for all of us, basically, too. Yeah. It's like we need to build this. Like, I think every town could have a brewery and survive. All you need is people to come from your town and drink on location and buy cans on location, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, that's one thing that we need. Like even in Montreal, it's like, oh, there's kind of a big focus downtown, and then like the occasional other borough, but there's like nothing in LaSalle, nothing in Lachine, nothing in Dorval. It's to me, there needs to be a brewery per borough.
Is Cat d'Origine going? Is it in Dorval? They're opening a second location.
So they've opened the bottle shop. So
okay, but they're opening a tap room also at some point, I think.
Yes. Yeah. But they do already still have the Point St.
They have
Charles for which myself in Verdun, Point St. Charles is a lot easier than Dorval or Kirkland or whatever they're in. So, yeah, but it's coming along. It's slow.
It's surprising that there's still some open areas in Montreal.
Yeah, there's a lot. So, what's next for Côte Beausoleil, the brand?
So basically releases once in a while, but the main thing in the next few months is we want to get a new brewing system, get more production going, hopefully distribute a little more, maybe get to Verdun one day.
Well, it's multi-hops.
Yeah, that'd be nice. And pizza oven.
Ah, yes.
So we want to bring more people here. That's our objective, and food will do that.
But you said you have like the people who go to cabins on the way. It's like, oh, a brewery. So
yeah,
that's great.
But having a food offering to pair with the beer, that changes the whole thing, and people stick around longer and have a beer more, and just becomes more of a community place, right?
Yeah. Like I said, it's very quaint. It's community style. It's. I'm sure it was busier up here until stuff started getting shut down again. So it's nice to have that. And to me, is as Canadians, as Quebecers, as Montrealers, we should all be supporting local businesses. So that's always. And then even as Quebecers, like there's Franco, Ontario, there's Cornwall, there's Ottawa. We're right there. We can support each other. If you live in Gatineau, go to Ottawa. If you live in Ottawa, go to Gatineau.
And anytime you travel, right? Yeah. I think that's our generation is when you go anywhere, where do you go? You go to the microbrewery.
Yeah.
If there's a microbrewery in the town, for sure, that's where you're heading.
Yeah.
So even if we can't distribute to Ontario, when people from Ontario come here in this area, well, they'll stop here.
Thanks again. Really appreciate today. So let the audience know where they can find you in location and on social media.
So we're in Saint-Jean-de-Matha, sur la route, on the 131 road. So basically between Joliet and up north. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and at côteabeausoleil.beer.
Awesome. So all that's going to be in the show notes as well for us. It's allbeerinside.com, at allbeerinside on all social media. And as I say at the end of all episodes, drink craft, not crap.